Welcome to my second video. What you just heard was a trumpet lick from a marching band tune called The Journey. It's the official theme of the NCAA, written by Alan Silvestri, arranged by Jay Bocook. The reason for this video is to talk about how to practice. It's one of the most important things we can learn because I think many of us as students just don't practice well. So we're going to discuss a little bit of how just that it's a two-measure lick, basically, about a process and how we would go about doing it. I will try to translate it to woodwinds as much as possible when I can, but it's more focused on the brass. So the first thing is, I am a horn player. I've got a trumpet, my horn mouthpiece here. Number one is we need to hear it before we play it. Actually, number one is we have to make sure we understand how all the rhythms work. So if you are at a point where you're learning a piece of music and you don't understand the rhythms, that is the most important thing. If you can't understand the rhythms, then you will not be able to figure it out on your own. And then you'll be at the mercy of learning it by rote, which is what we are trying to avoid. After this step, if you understand the rhythms, you have to break it down. Obviously, number one is you want to practice slow. But as a brass player, and I'm going to have both my mouthpieces here available, okay, because I'm going to learn it on kind of horn and trumpet at the same time. The first note is a C for the trumpet, which is obviously a concert B flat, which would be, okay, so I would take a trumpet mouthpiece, find that first note. Buzz very loudly. Get it in your ear. Okay, and then I would go at the piano. Get that in your ear and then match. Slower it, buzz it. If I did it on the horn, okay, it's going to be in a different key. Starting note is a C on the horn, it would be an F. The point is I'm hearing it and I'm buzzing a centered pitch, okay? So the most important thing is break it down on the piano or break it down, make sure you're hearing it and buzzing a centered pitch. And if you start that, you will be well on your way to making your first strides towards learning a very difficult lick. Next, putting it on the horn. I'm going to do, or putting it on the instrument. I'm going to do it on the horn. My first note is here. Okay, there's a little double tongue lick at the beginning that goes, pick it up. Okay, now, that's the specialty thing. If you can't double tongue, then we'll talk about that a little later. Point is, I'm going to start slow, big, full, and legato. It's very quick, and if you can't double tongue, if you're going to be able to tongue fast, you have to think of less motion, which means you actually want to think legato, not staccato, because if you tongue staccato, you're going to get this. You're going to try to hammer it away. You want do-do-do. You want to think light, because when you get it up to tempo, your tongue has to be very efficient and very light. So what I would first suggest is take the first beat. This is beat 2. Hear how connected I am? Excuse me for 1 second. I'm going to go turn off my snare drum, which shouldn't be on in the first place. Okay. Now, do-do-do-do-do, Lulu. Notice I'm using lots of air and thinking legato, but nice and slow. Practice with the metronome as well, right? Do, do, do. Get the metronome steady, okay? Okay, and there's a lick right there, and that's where it changes notes. Other than that, it's the same pattern, okay? I would go alternate between mouthpiece buzzing, okay? Okay, making sure I'm using plenty of air to get that high A, okay? Alright, now, one beat at a time. Here for that resonance, okay? Okay, so now what I'm going to take you through is step by step is different ways of practicing. Again, maybe buzz it 3 times and play it once. That's one idea. Okay, and then again, if I'm hearing it, it comes out very clearly. Okay, another thing, something like this, is changing the rhythms. Now, even though the first thing I said is practice legato, it's a good idea to practice opposites as well, because you never know what you're going to need. So, super short. Okay, but it's a combination. I'm hearing it, I buzzed it, I'm tonguing it, and this, again, me explaining it takes a little longer, but you could get this done in like 30 seconds, okay, if you're very quick, all right? Now, okay, yada-dum, okay, going back to the mouthpiece. Okay, I'm getting in my ear. Okay, now, basically, what I'm breaking down is, again, slow practice. But it doesn't do you any good if you're just going over and over and over. You got to find the specific reasons for why you're missing something, and then hone in on those. And then when you fix those, then you put it in a bigger context, okay? Now, so my next goal, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Penny game. This is something I suggested to my students. You take 3 to 5 to 10, depending on how accurate and motivated you are, put several pennies on the stand. Let's just say 5, okay? And I'm even taking just one beat. So I'm going to have 5 on one side. That first beat, beat 2. I didn't miss. Move one over, done. Now second rep. Okay, I can accept that. Measure 2, or third rep. I'll take that, okay? Oh, I missed. Point is, you have 2 options. One is, okay, if you missed one, maybe if you're early in the process, just move 1 penny back so you get an extra rep. But ideally, you would move all the pennies back and not move on until you get 5 perfect reps, or 5 acceptable reps, because, practice makes permanent, not perfect. This is another idea, the penny game. How you practice is the most important thing, because the truth is, you should only need maybe 2 to 3 rehearsals to put something together, because you want to hone in on the ensemble issues. But if you're trying to learn your music in class, that's a no-no in my book. So don't do that. Practice, building a habit of practicing. Okay. Now, so again, you can practice buzzing. So I'm gonna piece kind of a couple measures together here. Don't choose the A. Okay, it goes a little under, but okay, I'm using lots of air. I'm not buzzing softly. I'm pushing air through there. Buzz big all the time. Okay. Now, I'm not going to guarantee that I'm going to play this perfectly by any means, and there's always a lot more ways to practice. But if you go slow and really methodically think about how you practice, you can learn a challenging lick like this really fast. Okay. But don't just play it over and over and over and hope that you get it. You've got to fix the problems. Okay. Here we go. Now, it wasn't perfect by any means, and if I was sitting to practice this towards perfection, I would spend a lot more time on it. But I want you to know there's a direct correlation between hearing it and buzzing it, especially as a brass player. Woodwinds, sing it. Okay? Sing how you want it to play. If you don't have a clear idea of how you want it to come out of your instrument, okay, brass, woodwinds, doesn't matter, even percussion, it won't come out that way. Then, even if you're attempting to get it out that way, if you know how it should sound and you don't get it, you'll know it's wrong. You'll say, hey, I want to fix it. I know how I want it to sound, so I'm going to try to make it sound like that. Okay, and that's just the definition of practicing, is taking something and getting it to the level that you know it should be at. Okay, listen all the time. One of the things is you can play against the recording, buzz against the recording. Obviously, the recording plays it up to tempo. But the most important thing is really figuring out how to practice and what, for every lick, what specifically needs to be worked on. Now, I'm going to go back real quick. What does a slow practice sound like? Okay, if I was doing the whole lick, but I wanted to get good reps. I hesitated there because I wanted to make sure I heard it and I had to take a breath. What is my point? My point is you've got to know how to practice. I plan to break down more things like this in these videos, but right now this is just something that our band is working on, and it's a very, very challenging trumpet lick. And my worry is that many of my kids don't truly understand how to break things down. You know, it's one thing to say practice, but if you don't tell them what that means or how to break it down, they're not going to be successful at it. So this is an attempt to break it down for you. Look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.